Hi, this is Michael Waits, and welcome back to Insurance for the New Possible, a Chubb conversation. Today, we are joined by Ismail Gafoor, the founder and CEO of PropNex, and Keng, the country president for Singapore at Chubb. Thank you both so much for coming and doing this today. I really appreciate your time. Before we jump into the main part of this conversation, let's get a little bit of both of your backgrounds for some context. And Keng, let's start with you.
Sure. Hi. Thank you, Michael. My name is Keng. So right now I'm the country president of Chubb Singapore, which means I run the operations of Chubb Insurance Company in Singapore. We do all sorts of general insurance. So half of my business is commercial and the other half is consumer. But I have spent about 14, 15 years of my career at Chubb now. So first in the regional office, and then I moved out to Malaysia, working with Chubb Malaysia, running distribution over there before coming back to Singapore to run the country. So I've been in insurance a long time. I find it a fascinating industry, lots to do, lots to learn, lots to grow, lots of headroom, lots of opportunities. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Ismail?
Impressive, King. I don't know where to start.
Thank you.
Just say that. Yeah, I run a real estate company in Singapore, and we are the largest listed real estate company with more than 12,000 salespeople in Singapore, and within the region about 16,000 thereabout. Our focus is all about real estate, making a difference in the life of people, connecting them with the right property along their real estate journey. We do a fair bit of different segment, private properties, commercials, retail, leasing, and every day I wake up with only one motivation: how do I add greater value to my people? And that gives me all the energy to drive. And yeah, I'm here and excited today.
Wonderful.
I'm super curious what got you interested in the real estate market in the first place.
Oh, Michael, because we when I grew up didn't have many things.
Yeah.
So come from a very small family and 5 other siblings. Literally, we don't have a room, so it is just a very small rented flat. So we all stay in the common space. So somehow I always wanted to have a better home for myself. Along the way, I thought that maybe we can do the same to many other people.
If you see pictures of the earliest house that I lived in, it was just one big room. I know the feeling. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about real estate and insurance. Keng, real estate transactions already involve significant customer engagement. How can that engagement be leveraged so Chubb can offer some contextual value-added services to complement the real estate transaction that the customer has already done with PropNex?
Yeah, I think real estate, a company like PropNex, for example, will have a lot of data in your shop about the customers that you serve, right? And data is, of course, a very powerful thing, right? And add to it, what sort of data, right? When you talk about a home buying journey, I think, when you buy a home, it's not just about buying a home as an asset. Is also about security for the family. It's also about perhaps leaving a legacy. I mean, different people buy homes for different reasons, right? Sometimes it's an investment, and sometimes really it's just about creating a home for your collection of wine or whiskey, or in the case of my husband, his Lego collection, right? So I think that is where it becomes interesting, right? For Chubb to come into the picture, because Chubb, as an insurance company, we are here to protect not just your assets or your things, but also the lifestyle that you have curated over time, right? So I think, when you talk about property and general insurance particularly, there's so much synergy, I think, that we can leverage on, which is why, I think when you talk about contextual offerings, I just said, right, protecting the asset is one thing, and then protecting your lifestyle is another thing. So it's about figuring out where along those journeys we can come in and add value to our common customers.
No, you're absolutely right, King. I mean, put it this way. Today in Singapore, we are talking about, even if you take a public housing, it's not uncommon to see exceeding $1 million transactions.
That's right.
But it is not only about the property. Today, lifestyle have hugely changed. People have watch collections that goes into hundreds of thousands each. And I've got clients who buy art pieces that again goes into hundreds to million or dollars. These are all their pride. And obviously in our segment of our transactions, and one of the key thing about data when you said, Keng, is absolutely right. But data also come with huge amount of restrictions in Singapore's context, right? Because we talk about PDPA, privacy, protections, and so on. But in any partnership, I believe is to find the value add proposition, because Chopper has got product or policies that can value add PropNex salespeople in our offerings to our customers. Either it could be from a discount or from a new dimension of knowledge, how they can protect their wealth. And that's why we are excited, definitely, the synergy between our PropNex salesperson and our transactions with Chubb's value add is great.
Yeah, I think so, because as a property agent or property advisor, when you speak to your clients, right, you are at the forefront, right, knowing exactly what they're going through, what they're looking for, what sort of lifestyles, that they want to lead or aspire to lead or are leading, right? So property agents, I think, are in a very unique position, right, to be able to sort of not so much to assess, but to sense where there is a need, right, to get some protection, especially when you talk about buying a property in Singapore. You alluded that properties in Singapore, HDB smallest, flats now cost in excess of $1 million.
May not be smallest. I think must put the facts right for myself, because authorities will say, "Hey, Ismail, you are trying to inflate all the prices." No.
Let's not do that.
It's always a very sensitive issue, because public housing always, the government want it to be affordable. But you are right that lately this year we have seen a lot of properties, a fair number, but it's still overall, if you look at it, the overall numbers, less than 3%, up more than $1 million. Right. But across the board, today our public housing is still much pricier.
Yeah.
You are right on that.
Yeah, so I mean, with property prices being what it is in Singapore, right, it is likely going to be someone's largest or one of the largest investment or commitment they're going to make in their lifetime, right? So when you spend so much money acquiring an asset, I think that comes with risk attached to it, right? And that's why protection or insurance, right, is very complementary to the real estate journey, right? When you have asset, you have risk. So that's, I think that's where we come in with a contextual offering to protect that risk that you just took on.
Is property insurance mandatory in Singapore?
No, I don't think. It comes with, let's say, for example, if they take a mortgage with the bank and the bank may insist that you have an insurance. Content, generally from a public housing, they probably come in with a small amount of fees done. For as far as private properties are concerned, I don't think it is compulsory.
Only when you have a loan.
Yeah.
Right, and then you're protecting the bank, so to speak.
Yeah. That's from the mortgage.
So where do you see this fitting into the sort of journey and the life cycle of property purchasing, right? Whether it's a commercial property, a private property, where does it fit in the value chain? Do you know what I mean? Or in the journey to
put it this way, Michael, because today a renovation to fit out a unit is no more cheap, because construction costs have hugely gone up. Even we talk about design concepts and so on. And be it from point of a fire insurance, because nobody can say what is an unforeseen situations can arise. So content could be not only due to theft or damage or many aspects of it, but a lot of the time, either people are ignorant or they just need one more step, the awareness part.
The awareness part.
It is not that someone who invests and spends hundreds of $1,000s reluctant with couple of $100.
Yes.
It doesn't make sense, right?
Nope.
But it is the awareness at the right moment. And I see it, there's two ways that PropNex agents can value add in this process of a partnership. One, imagine that I have a customer who I've just done a transactions and I've gotten a good fat commission. Why I can't reward my customer a free insurance, either be the content or either be it some other complimentary. I pay for it so that my customer remembers me.
Yeah,
that could be one way. The other way here is this: even if I don't pay for it, but the mere fact that I show interest and care for my customer's investment by saying what are all the products that is available in the market to cover his own interest. So that's where it becomes very complementary.
Yeah, I agree, right? I mean, I spent 13 years working in the UK, studying and working in the UK, right? And I think the general approach or maturity level, I guess, with regards to protection and insurance is very different in the Western culture versus here in Asia, right? I mean, in London, insurance is almost seen as a must-have, right? When you book a holiday, you tend to just immediately buy travel insurance. When you move into a new home, you tend to immediately buy home content, right? And most people rent over there. But here in Asia, it is different, right? People see insurance as a nice to have instead of a must have, right? And that's just, nothing right or wrong. It's just the maturity of thought, right? And attitudes to these sort of things. So you're right? It's that one extra push or one extra bit of exposure or education to our customers, right? To let them see the value, where protection can come in useful. I think people also feel that in Singapore, it's so low crime. So why do we need insurance?
Everything is safe
in a place in Singapore. It's so safe, right?
Yeah.
But then I have to point out, the recent cases of burglary in Bukit Timah, right? That does point to the fact that low crime does not mean no crime,
Yep,
right?
right.
So I mean, insurance is not just about protecting theft, right? When people say no crime, insurance protects against a lot of things, right? Your lifestyle, for example, I mentioned that. But in Singapore, we have floods, we have leaks. All those are very, very common phenomenons as well, right?
Water's a real,
indeed,
it's a real thing.
That's right. Yeah, correct.
Ismail, can I ask you this? You mentioned this idea of just like bringing it up in conversation, right? Like maybe I'll take care of it for you, right? So it's almost like me treating you to dinner. You can always say, no, I'll take care of it myself. But at least you've introduced this as a concept. Do PropNeck agents do that in other ways as well?
No, I think it is common for a salesperson to buy them a bottle of a wine when they shift into the house,
or some chocolates,
or for that matter, even they do provide house cleaning services.
Really?
Before they shift in. Not every agent. Some of them said, okay, fine. In fact, there are agents who says that let me arrange the next 3 days lunch and dinner through outside caterers, because I know you are all not ready. You are unpacking and so on.
Right.
I don't think you have time to even take out all your utensils and so on. So it is all in a gesture. Yep. So that's where it is a matter of what it takes and how much is the cost. It all must make a business sense from a salesperson's perspective.
Sure.
And why not?
Yeah. It's none of my business what the commissions are, but I've been thinking about this idea of if I'm making enough money anyway, and if it's like a first-time home buyer, I can stay with them until they're a second-time home buyer. If they have a business, I can help them buy commercial products. There's so many other things I can do with them. Why not keep them in the fold?
Understand.
I like it a lot, actually. I want to ask both of you another question. We mentioned data earlier. One of the questions we have all the time is about personalization, right? And everybody's house and everybody's home is different. The things inside their houses that they're protecting are different. How can you leverage this data to make things more personalized?
Well, I mean, everyone knows that data is the thing now, right? Every consumer company out there is harnessing on data, and data, when you harness it in the right way, is a very, very powerful tool. So everybody's lifestyles are indeed different. So, from an insurance perspective, right, I think this is where I would like to talk about Masterpiece, which is our flagship product. It is fully customizable, right? It is bespoke to each and every individual's unique lifestyle and choices that they make for their home. So somebody loves to collect wine, somebody loves to collect Lego, some people just love to, invest in an expensive bicycle and so on. So this is where insurance such as Masterpiece, right, is indeed useful for our customers to be able to customize the product to suit their lifestyle. And I think with sufficient data, right, this is where I think we can leverage and really come up with a value add, product for our clients.
I mean, when you look at data, Michael.
Please.
For example, in the case of PropNext, we do easily more than 80,000 transactions in a single year. That's purely in Singapore.
Right.
Yep.
80,000. I want to get 80,000. I want to get the number right. So that's about 6,500 a month.
No, in fact, as I said, more. I think we do no less than 7,000 a month,
right,
to 8,000.
Got it.
So it is anything between 80 to 90,000 transactions.
It's a lot of transactions.
And these transactions come from the point of either it could be a leasing, a landlord, or a tenant, or a sale, or a commercial, or retail. Or there's many segments to it. Then the issue here is a data can reveal the kind of clients may need such things, because you cannot offer the offerings of all the 80,000s.
No.
Yeah. So from the data that we could probably be able to sieve out who are the high net worth clients, or who are the clients who are staying in certain kind of an be it, let's say in Sentosa, there's a different lifestyle, right?
Completely.
So these are the people that whom we can give a better value add on a connectivity through the data, sieving through, and value adding in the process. Then it will be a win-win-win for everyone. For the client, it's a win because suddenly he feels safe that he did not knew that such a thing could be protected. From a job perspective, an extension of the product value add. From the salesperson's perspective, a goodwill that he can carry through.
I want to ask both of you this, right? And I don't care who answers first. We do spend a lot of time talking about data now, right? But your business has been around for a very long time. When did you get to the point where the technology was there to allow you to do all the things you wanted to do when you first started with the data, but you couldn't really accumulate it, you couldn't store it, you didn't understand databases, all these things? When did that bit flip so that then you could start saying, we can make our agents a lot better at this?
I think for maybe I'll go on this first.
Please.
Because, I mean, look at it, Michael. People think real estate business is archaic, is thousands years. In fact, there are people who may even choose to think real estate businessman, a real estate salesperson need not exist. They are just middlemen trying to take advantage, connecting, negotiating, and some even feel maybe they're taking a fair amount or huge amount of commission.
I'm going to push back on that really hard, but go ahead. Some people do think that, but I would push back on that really hard.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
But you see, I'm not going to disagree with some of these people who have such thoughts. As long as we still continue to do the way, like the old way.
That's why I asked the question though, right? That's why I asked.
Of purely being a middleman and say, hi, I know of this property, this owner. No, it doesn't work these days. Because today, every day, there's another young man who wakes up and think how to break the code to disrupt this industry.
Yeah.
Because platforms, technology can connect the people between the buyer and sellers. Then where is the value add of the salesperson? And to me, Michael, it got on me not now, a good 10 years ago.
That's what I want to know.
If we choose to remain relevant, I need to get the data. And what is the difference where we do here is this. And I think because we choose to remain relevant in the industry, not for the next 10 years, but beyond. So in order to do that, if I meet you, Keng, and if you want to sell a property, if I can use data in my iPad and show it to you, the transactions that took place yesterday, which nowhere else you can have. No other platform can provide, because I've got a 12,000 salesperson community and I've got transactions market share of more than 60% in Singapore. So I've got all the listings or most of the listings, and I've got the data to show it to you the trend. Therefore, I'm using data to evaluate my salesperson and creating a story to convince or to guide you so that you can make decisions. So today, data is about making decisions for the end user. That's why I think it's powerful.
Yeah, super powerful. I want you to tell me when you think the data became important as well, and then I'll tell you a little story of my own. Go ahead.
Sure. I think insurance, whether life insurance or general insurance, for decades, it has been sold through intermediated channels, right? We've always relied on agents and brokers to do the distribution of insurance. Up until maybe about 10 years ago, I think the concept of leveraging on big data and leveraging on embedded contextual offerings, all of these ideas, right, came about. So with about a decade as well, same as him, right, about 10 years into the journey, even up to today, I still find that the bulk of insurance transactions are still transacted through the intermediated channel, right, which is agents and brokers. So what does this say to me, right? Two things. Firstly, in this embedded space, digital space, leveraging on data, right, there's huge amount of headroom to go.
Absolutely.
Lots more opportunities out there that, you know, it's up to our imagination really, right? What we want to do, what we can do, what is, you know, possible out there. But secondly, also leveraging on data to, like what you say, right? Equip the existing, right? The how we do it today, our agents, our brokers, how they do it today, right? Equipping them with the right data tools, right? To really enhance their service, right? And what they are able to offer to their customers. Yeah.
I'm not so sure, Keng, whether you agree or not. I feel I'm in slightly better advantage than maybe in the insurance industry. I may be wrong, but I feel this way.
Go for it.
The reason here is this. Today, when we talk about the technology platforms, they do take away a fair amount of job of be it the remisers who used to do the equities market and because platforms can bring down the cost so hugely and everything is so transparent. And I'm not saying that this will not be the case in a time to come, even in the real estate with transparency of information. But the advantage that we have at the moment, at least, but we don't want to take that for granted, is the entry level of the product. It is $500,000 and couple of millions.
Right.
It is not like you're buying a product, travel insurance for $120 and you make a decision on online. And the minute you enter into a property and if you don't do it right, even when you want to back out, you're going to lose a fair amount of money. So therefore, as I said, not taking that into taking things for granted. What is important is to convert this data to really give more empowerment to the sales force and the consumers. That's our thinking.
So let me ask you both another question. I think it's my feeling, very strong feeling, that standardized products can go through digital distribution channels in a way that's very straightforward and very easy. But in the real estate business, almost at scale, there's no real standardized product per se. Sure, in one building, but the second floor doesn't have the same value as the 30th floor. So in that sense, it's not really standard either. But in the insurance space, you have energy insurance, right? You have very sophisticated and complicated products, which as well will never be sold through a digital distribution channel. And the reason why, and I want both of your opinions on this, I think is because humans still want to make that visceral connection with another human who says, am I doing the right thing? What do you think?
No, you're absolutely right. I at least in the real estate space, I've been seeing that, Michael and Keng here, is people want to have that assurance that they are taking the right step.
Yeah, they're doing the right thing.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, the human connection do make a difference.
Very big, I think.
Yeah. And it is not easy for someone to get all knowledge. Put it this way. In a lifetime, how often does someone buy and sell a property? Unless he's an investor truly, he may do multiple. But if he's a homeowner occupier in a lifetime, times, 4 times, 5 times, and every transactions may take a time frame of 5 or 10 years. And within the 5 or 10 years, things change.
A lot.
The dynamics, the policies, the market trend, and so on. So that's why relying on a professional, but the professional have to have those datas. That's where it's a game changer.
I think absolutely agree with every word you said, right? In at least in the general insurance space, the breadth of products that I peddle, it does vary, right? From 30 cents a policy to 3 million, 30 million.
Right, to millions of dollars a policy.
Right, a policy, right? So I think the way to approach these policies, the sale of these policies are very, very different. So if it's 30 cents a policy, absolutely there will be no intermediated person in between trying to sell you.
Wouldn't make any
30.
sense anyway, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then also the understanding, right? Some sorts of insurance products are well understood by the market
For sure.
today, like travel insurance. I think at least in Singapore, people already understand the value of travel insurance. When people book a airline ticket, quite often they'll think about booking buying a travel insurance as well. So that's because it's easily understood and people are already very well educated and very, very well exposed. Then it's not necessary to deal with an intermediated
Right.
channel, right? A
Click
person.
here, pay there.
That's right.
Done.
right?
Easy.
And just like, motor insurance, for example, and some other examples, plenty out there. But then when it comes to the bigger ticket items, right, that is where you rely on your professional to advise you, right? Making sure that you're thinking about the right things, you're looking at it from the right angles. Is there something you haven't considered? What are the options out there? It must be mind-boggling for somebody who's not in the risk management space, right, to even try to make sense of all of
Exactly.
this. And that's where the value comes, right?
Right.
And data is a big part of it as well, right? Whatever value you're providing has to be backed by data.
Because that's the enabler.
That's right.
That's the enabler for the risk management, the risk mitigation, and the decision making.
Yes.
When I used to sit on a trading desk, right, we have to make decisions like this. We spent a ton of time making sure that we spent less time thinking about it and more time having the computers do the analysis on the data so that we could be better salespeople per se. It's the same thing that's happening here. For small trades, we just let the machine do it. Don't care. You want to buy 1 million shares of Toyota? Buy them. I don't care because you can buy them just as well as I can. But for an illiquid, non-often trading stock, we had to intervene.
Right.
And I think the analogy is the same. So I've been seeing this type of progression across industries for 2 decades.
Yep.
And I don't think it's any different anywhere. I'm super curious, and this is going to seem a little bit out of left field, but I'm super curious if there's another topic where you have as much knowledge as you have about real estate.
Myself,
Yeah. I'm just curious.
it's a hobby.
Yeah, anything.
Yeah.
Or any other business, you know what I mean? Where you could walk into the room. Because as a real estate person who's been running a business for how long?
Yeah, I think now good 29 years.
I was going to say 30, right? So almost 30 years. Like you can walk into any room with anybody else and you can have a discussion at the highest possible level about real estate.
Okay,
It's fine.
I don't think so at the highest possible.
But you know what I
level.
mean?
Yeah.
But my
yeah.
point is there another topic that you know about or another business that you know about where you could do the same thing? Because the point I'm trying to make is that's what the intermediary's for, right? So
Yep.
for first of all, like if you're a successful lawyer, a successful doctor, you spend all your time doctoring and lawyering, not real estating, not insurancing, right?
Yep.
So that's where the intermediary comes in, no?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, who you are brings a lot, right, to the
For sure.
table.
For
yeah,
sure.
and not just about your professional opinions about the real estate, but everything that comes with you being you and your life experiences. Yeah, definitely there's a lot of sense in what you just said.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to me, when I look at it, my last close to 30 years experience is all dealing with providing a service.
Exactly.
And a service means whether even if I have 12,000 over salespeople in Singapore or so, be it an insurance product is still in a service. Yeah. The way that you deal with people and the way you collect data to equip your people across any of the industry is probably still about the same. Yeah, so that's something that probably I can talk about it in another industry that wants to just tap the brain of mine
Right.
from managing people.
Sure. And again, that's a little bit of the point that I was trying to make, right? That in the trading world, the ideas and the approach to solving the problem is the same, but the output is different. But the approach is the same.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't walk into a room and talk to you about real estate because I don't know nearly as much as you do. That's the point I was trying to make. Where does embedded fit in here? In the real estate? And it doesn't just have to be on the property itself. I'm presuming it can be on the things inside the house as well. But where does it fit in, do you think? I spent a lot of time thinking about this. I'm curious because you have way more info than I do.
In the real estate space?
Yeah, just in the real estate space, but even in the inside the house stuff, right? But just in the property space.
Well, I mean, something that the life insurance industry does very well is to map out different stages of your life, what happens throughout your life, right? And then therefore what sort of products, and it's time to do a review of what kind of protection needs that you need, right? So for example, when you get married or when you purchase a home, when you have children, all of these are triggers for life insurance type conversations, right? Because your commitment and your liability and your exposure changes drastically with each of these huge commitments that you make in life. I think for general insurance, we're just not as good at doing that in terms of mapping out what product becomes relevant to you and when. And partly is because, like I mentioned, we have such a huge breadth of product that sometimes it seems futile to even try to do that mapping, right? But let me try, right? If I just take a typical Saturday, right? You wake up, you take your dog out for a run, you stop at a hawker center and you tap out your branch. You go home, you laze around, you do some online shopping, online banking, you cook dinner, and then you do social media, update your, TikTok or whatever, and then you go to bed, right? So in that typical Saturday, there will be tons of examples where I think embedding of insurance can come in and provide value. For example, pet insurance, right? You have a dog. Or if you're doing online banking, what about cyber protection? You do online shopping, damage protection. So it goes on and on, right? The possibilities are, like we always say, it's endless. So I think embedded insurance, there's a lot of opportunities that we can think about in a person's just regular life, right? It's endless. So when it comes to real estate, I think this is where we do have to leverage on the data and the technology that PropNext has, right? And I think we both have to come to the table, respecting our respective expertise in this area, right? To come up with weird and wonderful stuff for our common customers, right? Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right, Keng. When you're just narrating a day's exposure to someone, suddenly I feel so naked. And
I was amazed. I was amazed at the little segues there. That was beautiful,
like
actually.
From the time I step out of the house, anything can happen at my cover.
Come, let's have a conversation.
Are you okay?
Yeah, definitely. I think even when we talk about general insurance, many a time we take things for granted. But when we do understand, there could be some, I would say, a policy that cover a couple of things at the same time, and some may be very specific. But these are necessary. Yeah, it's only that I honestly felt that today what is happening in the market is all of us are too busy with many things. So our focus has always been what's next. And most of the time, we don't dwell or take a breather that it can happen to us. When someone's house got caught fire, we worry and we say, wow, lucky, everything is fine. But we never pause a moment, it could have happened to our own place. So that's why I think it is important for every one of us to just not feel safe just by not doing anything, but taking action.
Risk management is really important in all aspects of your life, even if nothing bad ever happens to you. I mean, I don't share this a lot, but like I'm super healthy, and I never thought I'd ever need an operation. And when I left my job at Goldman Sachs, my insurance didn't come with me. So I hadn't had insurance coverage in 10, 12 years. Never even thought about it, right? Which is weird considering what I do on a day-to-day basis. But then I got sick and I had to have an operation. And now I have all the insurance, but I didn't have it when I needed it because of exactly what you just said. Because you walk around day to day just thinking, that's not going to happen to me. Risk mitigation's for other people. Risk management's for other people. I'm fine. But no one's fine. Yep. Nobody's safe.
Absolutely right.
One more thing and then I'll let you guys go. Can we talk a bit about how PropNext continues to innovate in the technology space? Right? Like we talk a lot about you're a real estate company, but at some level you're really kind of a tech company because of the things you do and the development that you've done, whether that's the investment suite, the business suite, what was the other thing? The templates, all this kind of stuff that you're doing. How do you keep that innovation going?
In fact, what's surprising, Michael, of my full-time salaried staff headcount, 1/3 of my company, and I've got huge number of departments, right? You're talking about from accounts, from servicing, from legal, from recruitment, from logistic to back end, to many customer service, various departments, marketing, comm, and studios of videography and whatever we do. But 1/3 of my headcount, tech space. I mean, I could not imagine this was the case.
But when you first started your company, you never thought you were going to be a tech company.
Not at all.
Not even close, right?
Not at all.
Exactly.
That's why I said even 10 years ago, 15 years ago, probably less than 10%, 5%, because that was not the focus. But today, we have come to complete acceptance. We can't continuously create new value add using
for the agents, right?
Or the salesperson.
For the agents and the
or the
salesperson.
Yeah. So that's why, as you said, whether is it our business suites or agent suites, and how do we make things, everything on the palm of that salesperson?
Yep.
So, and that's something, a continuous development. It is
No, it's a journey. It's never
always have to be new.
Can I ask you one more thing? When you started implementing tech, did it come from the salespeople saying we need more information on this, or was it an internal epiphany of like, I'm looking around at other industries and I see if we can do that, then we can get even better at what we do?
I think it's the second is more, right, Michael?
Go ahead.
Because I think if you want to wait until ground us,
No.
yeah, you are already half in a trouble.
You're too late.
And there would be another person who have half ahead of you.
Yeah, because that means that other agents are telling them, I have this information.
Yes. And therefore you are going to fight a very tough battle trying to keep pace, and that it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
The fact that PropNex is today is a market leader is because, in fact, we choose to think we don't have any competition in Singapore. is the main reason, why I say that, Michael. When you are looking at competitors always, I felt that you cannot break new records. Imagine that I'm running 100 meters and always turning back. That's micro milliseconds. Are they near me? I will still be ahead. I can win the race, but that will not be a new record. My focus is forward looking. Just create new.
Nobody ever wins a race looking backwards. Ever. Okay, I'm going to let you two go. Ismail Gafoor, the founder and CEO of PropNex. Keng, country president at Chubb Singapore. You were both awesome. Thank you both so much for doing this.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael and Keng. Truly an exciting and my pleasure.